Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Hitting the Hardwood podcast, your home for all the latest Minnesota Lynx and WNBA news, analysis, and coverage. Thank you for tuning in to another episode as we kind of shift or adjust our off-season scheduling for the podcast. As you well know, with the off-season underway, we're going to be shifting to a monthly format for this podcast. We'll be doing emergency podcasts here and there as necessary and as news arises, but with things kind of slowing down, we thought that it would be best to adjust, at least for, like I said, for the next few months. We'll see once free agency comes around, but we'll be doing a monthly podcast every month, and this month is the first month for that. But with that said, I'm really excited to have another member of the Minnesota Lynx on the podcast this week. Current member of the Lynx, somebody who is well known not only on the Lynx but league-wide, worldwide, and she had a phenomenal season this year, MVP type season. And that is none other than Napheesa Collier. I was really excited to be able to sit down with Fee and kind of talk about what she thought of the 2023 season, her first full season back after giving childbirth in 2022. And you know, she was able to take her game to the next level. She was able to not only finish fourth in the MVP conversation, but she took her game to the next level. And she continues to improve, which was impressive to see off of coming, after basically missing all of the 2022 season with the exception of playing in 4 games. But it was a nice conversation with Fee to sit down and talk about what she thought about the 2023 season. She talked a little bit about individually what went right for her, what went well for her, what she wants to work on personally. And then she also talked about the team and how close this team was, how tight-knit this team was in 2023. And the Lynx want to use that to build into the future. And speaking of the future, she does talk about maybe some goals this offseason, not only for her, but for the team, where the team's going, what the team might look like next year, what they want to try and accomplish leading into the 2024 season. And then we kind of talk a little bit about everything else, everything in between, everything Lynx related. But it was a really fun conversation with Fee. And like I said, I really appreciate her sitting down and having a conversation with me and talking about the 2023 season and the future. So without further ado, let's jump right into the podcast this week with Napheesa Collier. Fee, how are you? Thank you for joining.
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
First of all, how are things going? How's the off season going? We're about a month or so into the off season, but how are things going so far?
It's really good. Just taking time to rest my body and to get healthy and be with my family. So it's been great.
Mm-hmm. Now that you've kind of had time to reflect on the season, I know you had talked obviously right after the end of the season at the exit interviews or exit availabilities, but now that you've had a little bit of time to reflect, what are your thoughts on how the 2023 season went for yourself and for the team in general?
Yeah, I think it went well. I think we definitely exceeded expectations. But I think we always do that. I feel like we always are going above what maybe other people think we can. But it was just a really fun year. Like, we had such a great team. They were just like so enjoyable to be around. So it was really fun that we were able to do what we did. Obviously it was a rough start, which people love to talk about, but I think it just, we had so many new people, we had so many young people, and we just needed time to really gel on the court because we gelled so well off the court. We kind of knew that it was only a matter of time before we started playing better, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, I felt like we really got our groove, and we did have some sense where, we lost again, but I think for the most part, like, I was really proud of how resilient we were this past year, how hard we played. It was just like a fun year to be in.
Mm-hmm. What are some, I mean, obviously I think this might be kind of a obvious answer, but what are some of the challenges of dealing with that, of, having kind of learning on the fly? I mean, you've kind of talked about it. K-Mac talked about it at the end of the year. I mean, Cheryl's talked about it too. You guys were kind of learning about each other and learning who the team is and kind of identity wise on the fly. What are some of the challenges of that while dealing with that right away?
So I think the most challenges with that come at the end of the year, because by the end, we didn't have a lot of people who had been in playoffs, like, at all. We had a lot of new people, some people who came from other teams who weren't in the playoffs a lot. Like, so we didn't have a lot of experience, like, with end of season. I've never gone past first round. Like, we didn't have a lot of experience of people who have played in the playoffs and, won. So I think that definitely kind of showed. You know, we played really bad in our first game against Connecticut. Then we came back and played really well. Fought, to be in Minnesota, which was awesome. Like we really wanted to play in front of our home crowd because, we think that's such an advantage. But I think it really just came down to, a little bit of inexperience for us. So I'm excited to have this team back again next year and to have that under our belt and to have another year of experience. So I think it's gonna be really fun.
Yeah, you kind of talked about obviously reaching the playoffs. I mean, you guys did turn things around. You ended up, reaching as high as, 4 or 5 seed. You're kind of floating around there at one point. What does it, say to the, kind of you obviously, learning on the fly as we talked about, but the fact that you guys did turn it around and you put together a strong season when a lot of people maybe didn't expect you or forecast you at the beginning of the year, whatever it may be. But what does it say about this team that you guys didn't give up and you kind of kept fighting?
I think it just showed how much we really cared about each
Mm-hmm.
other. Like I said, we had such great chemistry. Like it was such a great group of people to be around. And it was because we were all really good teammates. Like we wanted to win for each other. There was no one out there that was there for themselves. We were there for the team, like what was best for the team. Genuinely happy for each other whenever we did well. Like it was just such a fun environment. So I feel like that really helped us to grow so fast because you didn't have people who were out there, just trying to chase stats or whatever it might be. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you made a mistake, people took constructive criticism. They wanted to get better for the team, like do well for the team. And that allows you to grow really fast. Like to be coachable like that allows you to be able to learn on the fly, to be able to make adjustments instead of, in a different situation. So I feel like that was definitely one of the reasons why we were able to do so well is because we wanted to for each other, not for our own personal gain.
Mm-hmm. Kind of shifting to you personally, obviously it was a great year for you in the MVP conversation, finished fourth in MVP voting. What for you, what did you, I guess, what are your takeaways from the season? And I mean, it was your first full season back after, giving birth. What was that whole process like? And what did you think about the year that was?
Yeah, that process was long
Mm-hmm.
and it was definitely tedious, like in the off season trying to get back. I came back really fast, like you said, after I had my daughter, and my body just honestly didn't like respond very well to that. So I spent a lot of my off season doing a lot of rehab, trying to, get my body back to where it needed to be. And then also like trying to improve my game at the same time because you don't want to just get back to the level that you were at before. The goal of each off season is to come back better. So yeah, I mean, it was a really hard off season. Like I worked my butt off. So I was really proud that it translated onto the court and into my game because obviously you want to see results when you're working hard. So I was really proud of myself. It was definitely like a learning experience on a lot of different fronts. As a leader, I was like, I was made the sole captain. K-Mac was pretty much a captain for us, but definitely started out the year that way, especially. And it's like a lot of growth that I felt like I needed to go through to be like a good leader for my team. I want that. And so that was definitely like a challenge being outside of my comfort zone with that, trying to grow in that respect. And then also like a leader on the court as well, because before we always had Syl, like especially I mean, she would have 4 people hanging on her. You could just throw it up and she'll score. Or on defense, if you get beat, she's behind you. She's going to block the person that got by you. So just growing in that way, knowing that I had a lot more responsibility on the court as well. I knew that I was probably going to need to be the top scorer on the team, just taking responsibility that way. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. I feel like I really grew as a leader and as a player. So it was like a really fun year for me.
Mm-hmm. What would you say was maybe and maybe it's neither, but what would you say is maybe the most of the two things of on the court performance and, being a leader and kind of taking over that role in a bigger form? What
Mhm.
was the biggest challenge? What you were doing on the court or kind of what you had to do on the court and off the court as a leader?
I think the leadership aspect, because when you're on the court, all you're thinking about is your game. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Like you're trusting the muscle memory that you built in the off season. So that kind of takes over. But leadership wise, like that's mental strategy. That's like that takes a lot more of a mental toll. Everyone learns in different ways. Everyone has different personalities and trying to navigate that. And like I said, to lead people in a way that they want to be led. it's something I'm still trying to grow with. It's definitely like a learning process, and I feel like I got better. I hope my team agrees. But yeah, I think that was definitely harder because it's so far outside of my comfort zone, like I said.
When it comes to your your performance on the court, what was it you talked about, the off season, and I chatted with your husband Alex about everything that kind of went into that, and some of the training that went into the off season, getting you back into shape and kind of back to form. But what was there kind of an adjustment, or maybe some hurdles that you went through right away at the beginning of the season, even though you did all that preparation, you did all that work in the off season to get yourself back into form and back into shape or whatever it may be? But was there a little bit of an adjustment as the season, as the game started?
I think yes, just because it felt like it had been 2 years, even though I technically played, the year before, the season before.
Mm-hmm.
So like shaking off that rust, I would say, of like the game moves so fast. It moves way faster in person than it looks on TV. So you have to make split second decisions, like getting that kind of like motion back, I guess, or that basketball IQ or intuition. I feel like that took me a little bit just to get back in the groove of things. But I think that happens every beginning of the season. You haven't played for a while, but I think maybe just the fact that I knew it had been so long. Yeah, I definitely felt that in the beginning a little bit.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to the leadership and even you can maybe even say your role on the team, performance wise, do you think that's something that you want to personally see continue to grow, or do you kind of feel like you've kind of made it as as a leader, or whatever, or, performance wise or whatever it may be?
No, definitely. I always want to grow. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely don't think I've reached my potential as a leader or as a player. And I hope I continue to strive for that. Like I never want to be happy with where I am. So there's a lot of things I'm going to work on in this off season, like physically for basketball. And then also like, I can't wait to start being a leader again, like for the team, when the season starts, and taking what I learned last year and implementing it this year and hopefully growing, in that area too. So definitely not like satisfied with where I am. I want to continue to get better.
Mm-hmm. That kind of leads into my next question, with the off season. What are some things that maybe you're focusing on, or working on over the off season leading up to next year?
Um, on the move 3-point shooting, like I really want to get a lot better with that. And like off the dribble kind of moves. So like one-on-one moves, being able to change direction. Those are just like some of the things I think I need the most work on. But obviously, fine tuning. I love mid post, doing stuff there. Continuing to work on just set threes, things like that.
Mm-hmm. You a part of that too was you went overseas right after the regular season. How was that experience, and kind of went into the process of deciding to go over there?
Yeah, that happened like so fast. I mean, I got the deal, and within 2 days, I was like out of here. And it was right after the season. It was specific, so it was like for a specific game that they had there. So I kind of just came in for that. But it was awesome. I mean, I loved the team. I loved like all the girls there, and the city was awesome. So it was a really cool experience. I
Mhm.
really enjoyed that actually.
Looking forward to kind of the future of the Lynx. This is something that you guys talked about at length at the end of the season, but you talked about the future, and kind of the optimism for the future, and looking forward to what you guys can become in the future. What are some possibilities that you envision, this off season and beyond for the organization?
I think, recruiting is going to be a big thing for us in this off season. Just filling different roles that, I think that we have some holes on our team. We have a lot of people playing out of position, so hopefully we can get people who are meant to play that position in this off season. So that'll be a big thing, and then maybe some people with some more experience as well, because like I said, we were really young this year, and so having more of like a veteran presence, maybe something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, my
when
dogs.
uh when it comes to Unrivaled, that's something that obviously we learned about it, during the season. Are there any updates since that announcement? And I guess, have you had any feedback or reactions, or kind of commitments from anybody around the league?
We have. I mean, I can't talk too much about it, but yeah, we're moving along. We're really excited. We're launching in January of 2025. So, yeah, I mean, the feedback has been all really positive. All the players are really excited. Everyone we've talked to is really excited. So, we think this is obviously like a really great thing. So we just can't wait to, get that started.
I know you've kind of talked about this before, but what do you hope that Unrivaled kind of provides yourself and other players?
Yeah, I hope it provides us with a place in the US where we can continue to get better at our game, while also making money here. So many of us have to play overseas to make money. And I think a lot of injuries come from that because also players aren't getting rest that their body needs. When you're playing year round, year after year, that's when you see like these really terrible injuries. So, excuse me, allowing our bodies to get rest, playing in the US and making money while doing it.
Mhm. Cool. I think it's a great idea. It's awesome. I anything that, like you said, provides kind of opportunities here, and it allows, I'm kind of selfish, but it allows us to watch more of the game. You don't get to see
Exactly.
a lot of the
Yeah.
overseas games, so that's great. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
What
One of the main reasons we're doing it too,
mhm.
visibility.
What's it like for you to be kind of the, one of the people at the head of it? Is that kind of fun to be one of the faces of it, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. It's cool to be, like on the forefront of something that we really believe in, hopefully making like a huge change in the area that we live in. Pretty much like
Mm-hmm.
basketball's our whole life right now, and obviously being so ingrained in that lifestyle, like we see the holes in it. So any way that we can leave a place better than we found it, like it's such an amazing opportunity. So hopefully this is the start of something that generations from now, like it's still going on and it's still giving players an outlet in the way that I talked about. So yeah, we're really excited to, I'm really excited to be like in the beginning stages of that because it's cool to see how things start. Because, I came into the league 20 years after it was made. So,
Right, right.
all right.
Absolutely. When it comes to, kind of your role with the Lynx, not necessarily, what you're doing on the court, but as part of the organization, what is it like to be a part of the Lynx organization, be a part of the Twin Cities community, be in Minnesota? I mean, it's the place you've been your whole career. What's all of that been like for you so far?
It's been awesome. I love Minnesota. Like the area, it's like, especially, I mean, I'm only there in the summers. It's beautiful. Like, I really love the area. I love the community around it. I love like the fandom around us. And it's such a like so many great players have come through Minnesota. Like we have an amazing coach. It's just such a perfect situation for me. So I just feel really blessed that I have been there my whole career and I haven't experienced, some of the things that other players have. I've been really fortunate in where I got drafted.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I always say this that, and I've said this to other people on this podcast, that Lynx fans are crazy in the best possible way. They're a
Yeah.
very passionate fan base, which is great, and I imagine that resonates with you and the rest of the team when you're on the court and just throughout the year. I would imagine, right?
Yeah. Who wouldn't want ride or die people behind them?
Right. Exactly. When it comes to, this is kind of an open-ended question, but when it comes to Napheesa Collier, what is next? What do you hope is next for you? This offseason, next year, moving forward.
I hope a championship's next, and I hope an MVP is next.
Perfect. That sounds
Yep.
great. Well, cool. Well, I hope to be able to continue to cover all the great success you've had on the court, great success you have off the court. And I appreciate you taking some time and sitting down and chatting with me today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Thank you once again to Fee for joining the podcast this week. As I mentioned, it was great to sit down with her. I was lucky to be able to set something up where she took some time out of her busy schedule to sit down with me a little bit and talk a little bit about the WNBA season, the 2023 season, and what's next for her personally and for the Lynx. So once again, thank you to Fee for joining the podcast. It was a really fun conversation and great insight that she was able to provide as we continue on in this offseason. I also want to give a shout out to Jeremy Rushing, as I do every week, for producing this podcast. He does a great job in the back end of making sure everything sounds good, making sure everything gets out in a timely fashion. So I appreciate you, Jeremy, and everything that you do for Hitting the Hardwood. I also want to give a big shout out to two of our, before I get into that, I want to bring to light our Patreon page, or kind of bring up our Patreon page. With the off seasons, underway and things kind of slowing down, that doesn't mean that stuff, content, stops at Patreon. I'll continue to provide not only discounts through our Hitting the Hardwood store, but also exclusive content, what I think about the offseason, what I think the Lynx might do this offseason, what they might look like in 2024. I'll continue to do that throughout the offseason and continue to provide exclusive news and information there that I don't share anywhere else. So if you could, please go check out our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/hitting the hardwood. I appreciate anything you can do to help support Hitting the Hardwood and to ensure the longevity of this podcast. That's the ultimate goal, is to, I don't do it for the money, but I do it for the time that goes into this, and to ensure that we're able to kind of continue to take things to the next level and continue to take this podcast and the Hitting the Hardwood content that we provide, taking that all to the next level. So I appreciate anything you can do, and please go check that out at patreon.com/hitting the hardwood. Also, give a big shout out to our two partners. We'll continue to expand leading up to the 2024 season with our partners who want to partner with us. I'm really appreciative of the two that have been here since day one, but I also want to open it up to anybody that is interested in partnering with Hitting the Hardwood, whatever that may be, from very little partnership to a bigger partnership. I'm open to any conversations and any dialogue on that front. Send us an email at hittingthehardwood@gmail.com. Happy to chat about it. Happy to look into things and figure out how we can partner together, this off season and moving forward. But like I said, the two that have been here since day one, Homage and Better Edge, they've been great supporters of the Hitting the Hardwood brand. I want to start off with our good friends at Better Edge. That's BETTOR Edge. So go check them out at betteredge.com, BETTOR-edge.com. Great guys work alongside or partnering with over at Better Edge. It's a really great, and I'm not just saying this just because they're a partner, but it's a really great betting platform. Very user friendly. It supports local. They're a Minneapolis-based company, but they branch beyond that. You can bet on anything from the WNBA when it's in season to any other basketball, NBA. You can go any other sport that you really want to. You can bet on those sports. You can bet on those leagues, and you can do it via competitions, pick'ems. You can bet against others. You can bet by yourself, whatever it may be. It's a really great platform, and I've really enjoyed personally using it over the years. So go check them out at betteredge.com, BETTOR-edge.com. If you're a first-time user and you're just testing it out, go to betteredge.com/links. Use the promo code LYNX, LYNX, and you get a free $20 in free play. So go check that out. Go try it out, and go support our friends over at Better Edge. Second one is Homage. Homage is a vintage clothing outlet that does great work with the WNBA, does great work with other sports leagues, modern gear, or modern clothes, and vintage stuff, which is I've personally really enjoyed. They do a lot of great stuff. I'm not kidding. I'm actually wearing the Lynx hoodie right now, which is one of my favorite hoodies that I have, the blue hoodie. It's just a basic logo hoodie. It's very comfortable. I have the t-shirt, Lynx t-shirt, and the WNBA charcoal t-shirt. Go check all of those out. They really do have great gear there, and it helps support a great business. And anything that you can go check out our website. And if you can, there's two specialty URLs or two specialty links. There's a Lynx gear URL and a WNBA gear URL. If you click on those and you purchase anything, it doesn't cost you anything more. But if you purchase anything through those links, a percentage of that purchase comes back to support Hitting the Hardwood. So go check out our website, and you can find all of the website information on our social medias. It's all in our bios on each of our social media platforms. So go check them out, Homage, HOMAGE.com. With that said, the offseason continues to roll along. The Lynx, they're doing a nice job overseas. Kayla McBride is playing incredible overseas. We've had different players kind of starting their seasons or kind of getting things underway, continue to develop, work on their skills overseas leading up to the 2024 season. Every week at Canis Hoopus, canishoopus.com, CANISHOOPUS.com. I have all off-season long, but I'll continue to have a Lynx off-season update, catching you up on how the Lynx have done the last week and how they're doing across the globe. So go check all of that out. It comes out every Monday, and I provide an update on how the Lynx are doing. Another thing of note is obviously some of you are familiar with it or aware of it. USA Basketball they now have wrapped it up, but they had their training camp. Cheryl Reeve is the head coach of that team again this year. She will be at least through the 2024 season or the 2024 year. I did write a story recently at Canis Hoopus about the upcoming year for USA Basketball. Cheryl Reeve had talked about that, but that is also underway. Cheryl is busy as ever, not only preparing for next WNBA season, but also preparing for USA Basketball and all of her duties there. So go check all of that out. Although it is the off season, although the WNBA is not in action, the Lynx are still being active. They're still doing stuff across the globe, in the country, outside of the country, and everything in between. So go check all of that out. You can follow me on social media, M_Hansen13. That's HANSEN 13. And I have all of that information there as well. So with that said, I appreciate you tuning in for another episode. As I said, we'll continue to, at least through the rest of the 2023 calendar year, doing monthly podcasts. We'll do emergency podcasts here and there as necessary, as news arises, as information arises, and anything that you need to know, we'll make sure that you know. But you can go check out everything on social media. We'll have updates on those podcasts when they will be posted. I'll work on getting another exciting guest here in December, and we'll talk about all things Lynx, all things WNBA, as we always do. So once again, I appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you listening all season long. We're going to continue this off season leading up to the 2024 season, and then we'll continue to do those weekly podcasts as things ramp up and as information increases. So thanks again for listening. I hope you have a great week. Hope you have a great holiday season. If I don't talk to you before then, I should talk to you in early December. But if you celebrate Thanksgiving, have a happy Thanksgiving. And thank you once again for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of the off season. Have a great day.